You do not need any money to start gator lending, but because everybody seems to be convinced otherwise, I wanted to make this video today to explain to you guys how you can start a gator lending business today with $0 out of your own pocket. And to start doing that, I have to explain to you guys the difference between money and your money, because that's where people get confused. Because, you know, in the definition of the word lending, obviously it involves money, right? You are giving money to somebody else, for a return or a fee or whatever. But that's where people get lost, right? You are lending money. It's not lending your money. And so many, I'm gonna get passionate about this because the amount of people I know, the amount of people I've spoken to that have put off getting into this business because they don't have money is insane. It's like most everybody. And it's not valid. I get where you're coming from, and that's why I'm making this video, but it is not valid to not get into this because you don't have money. So the difference between money and your money is obviously your liquid funds, right? It's the money that you actually have. Money is literally all the money in the world. And when you really look at it, if you think like bigger scale, right? Think about like a bank, for example. Oh, that's actually, I didn't even think about this, but this is a really good example. If you think about a bank or a hard money lending company or literally any lending company that you've ever been associated with, you know, you think when you get that loan from Wells Fargo that Wells Fargo's giving you the money, but is that Wells Fargo's money? No, it's not Wells Fargo's money. Whose money is it? It's your money. They take your money in your bank accounts and they lend that money out to people, and they make a ton of crazy amounts of interest off of lending your money. That's literally how it works on a basic level, right? Same thing is true in every lending business and can absolutely be true in your gator lending business. You do not need your own money to do it. And so, you know, the alternate to that is that you can absolutely use other people's money, right? Now, I have to stop there because most of you guys listening to this are probably like, yeah, Ryan, in theory, that sounds great, but I don't know other people with money. Lies. You absolutely know other people with money. You don't know how to raise money yet. So I'm going to make a video and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do this stuff with no money. So that's the first thing that you have to understand is the difference between your money and money in general. And it's really important. And here's the big note that you've probably heard me make before. People think of money as a currency in lending, right? Which is fair because in general, money is a currency. And so all the time I see people post, I've got $10,000 saved up to lend. I've got $5,000 saved up to lend, whatever it might be. And the problem is that they are misinformed on the currency of lending, because the currency of lending, short term, right? Gator lending is not money, it's deals. Deals are what is lacking. Money is not lacking. And I promise you, if I showed you my DMs right now, I can show you there is plenty of money out there. The problem is people don't have the deals to actually lend on. That is the major issue here. So that's what we want to talk about, is that deals are the real currency for you guys. And any other focus is a poor use of your time, right? Setting up your bank accounts, setting up LLCs, waiting years to save money. Are those things that should probably happen eventually? Yes, but get yourself some proof of concept first, right? Make some actual money first, and then you can go back and worry about everything else. And that's the important thing to understand, is that the deals are the currency. So I'll give you guys a bunch of examples in this video, and I'll start it off with an example that literally just happened, because I think fresh examples are good, and you can even reach out to this person in case there's somebody watching this that thinks I'm making this stuff up. But this week we had a deal come through for a $700,000 double closing, essentially, which means that we had to wire $700,000, and then we immediately get the $700,000 back, plus we got $21,000 in return, right? So awesome deal, right? And the guy that brought me this deal started getting into lending 2 weeks ago. This is a real story. Started getting into lending 2 weeks ago. And in his first week of taking action, he happened upon somebody that needed this loan really quickly, came to me and said, hey, I don't have my LLC set up. I don't have a bank account. I have no money. I don't know what I'm doing, but I found this person and they need $700,000. And I said, cool, how long do we have? They said 1 day. I was like, all right. So step one, I had to go get that money, right? And this is kind of the big thing that I'll talk about in this video, is how do you get that money? Well, this was a deal where we were going to send $700,000 and we were going to get it back with $21,000 on top of it in an hour. 2 hours, depending on how fast, the wires go. When you have the ability to make that much money that quickly with very low risk, right, and high confidence, that is a ridiculous deal. That's a ridiculous deal. People make that much in interest annually, right, in their like little savings accounts or whatever. We did it in 30 minutes. So how did I raise that 700 grand? Well, all I had to do was say, hey, I've got this opportunity for you to make a bunch of money really, really quickly, and I just need somebody that has the capital. And if you're listening to this again and you're convincing yourself, oh, I don't have any connections like that, then go make some connections. But the reality is, if you go in any freaking Facebook group, right, for real estate investing or lending or anything like that, and say, hey, does anybody in here have a couple $100,000 liquid that can lend on this thing that'll make them, 10 grand in 30 minutes? You will get blown up. And people don't believe me until they do it, right? So in this example, the deal was brought to me. I went and raised the 700 grand in like an hour. We got the money, sent it in. Long story short, at the end of the deal, this guy that had just gotten into lending, right, literally 2 weeks ago, made he made like 4,900 bucks, I think. So about 5 grand in one day with none of his own money. That just happened, right? I'll give you more examples, but I have to put that one out there because it's fresh, and it's the reality of this stuff is that the deals are the commodity. He had a deal, and that deal had the potential to make a lot of money really quickly, and that was the only thing that mattered, right? Now, if you're somebody listening to this and you're freaking loaded, then you don't necessarily have to go find the deals. You could make connections with people that are finding deals, but there's plenty of people with a lot of money that don't have the opportunities to leverage that money into making a lot of money quickly. So the money alone is just never the thing that you really need. And so, that kind of leads me into just talking about raising money. This isn't going to be a video about raising money, but I'll just be a little contradictory here. Raising money for transactional lending is so easy. It is so easy, and people get so scared about it, but it's because they don't have the opportunities. Raising money for longer term stuff is a different question, right? You want somebody to lend you money for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever, and make, decent returns. That's a different demographic of people, but literally any human being that has that much liquid cash available is going to want to lend on something that's going to pay them the amount they might make in an entire year in 30 minutes. It is illogical to not do that, right? And that's why raising money is actually not hard at all when you actually get into it. But in order to be able to raise that money, you have to have incredibly high confidence in what you're doing, right? You need to understand what's going on. And for a lot of people, that haven't had repetitions, just for reference, I've done over 150 transactional lending deals in the last year. I still do not have the utmost confidence in every deal. I still get nervous. I still have to double, triple, quadruple check things. I still have to ask for second opinions. And that's after 150 deals. So for people that may not have ever done a deal, or maybe have only done a few, you are who I'm talking to in this video. You do not need money, but if you lack the confidence, then you need to bring somebody in that has it, right? And that's kind of where I'll lead with this, is what do you do? Right? Where do you go from here? What's your action step? So I'll give you a couple action steps to take if you're listening to this and you're like, I want to get into lending, but I do not have money. Listen up. Step 1, throw all the stuff out the window that you think is true, because I'm telling you it's not, right? You do not need money. You do not need an LLC. You do not need a bank account. This week, that guy made almost 5 grand and he had none of those things, right? So clearly you don't need them. Factually, I'm showing you don't need them. So throw that out the window. If we're throwing that out the window, then what are we going to replace our time with? Leads. You need deals, right? And when you look at creating leads, I have multiple videos that you can go back to on lead generation, and I'm sure I'll make more. But when it comes to creating leads, there's 3 main really easy free things that you can do to start getting leads. You either do warm leads, cold leads, or free content, right? Warm leads is talking to people that you already know. So if you are somebody that's listening to this that is a loan officer or a real estate agent or just a real estate investor, you already know people that are involved that could potentially use your money. You just don't know how to talk to them about it. So you need to start there, right? Learn what the heck lending is so that you can explain it well to somebody and they can actually hear you and be like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. I'm interested in working with them. If you have warm leads, that's what you need to talk about, right? You need to learn how lending works. Cold leads is people that you don't already know, right? People that have not given you permission to contact you. It's people that you might DM on Facebook or reach out to, I don't know, at new events or something. Anything like that hasn't given you permission. Cold calling too, if you like pull a list, I guess. The way that you learn to talk to those people is actually very similar to warm leads, and it's just building up the confidence, right? Confidence and credibility is two big ones. If you tell somebody you can do something, how are you going to back it up, right? Oh, you know, all the time, there's a post we were commenting on the other day where somebody's like, I have $100 million to lend. But the person has like no background of any lending, no real proof or credibility in what they're doing. So it's like, maybe they do, I don't know, but it kind of falls on deaf ears. You know, it's not that helpful. But if you have the credibility to back up what you're saying, then when you're talking to people that don't know you, you have to just think in their like terms, right? Like, why would they want to work with you? What do you have to offer that would actually be, you know, enticing and helpful to them? So important to make sure that you do that. And so, you know, when we talk about cold leads is a low leverage activity. It is a volume game, right? The percentages that we see is like less than 10% of people you reach out to respond. So, you know, if you reach out to 100 people, you might have 10 of them respond. Now, if you reach out to 100 people that you already know, the reality is probably 90% plus of them are going to respond because you already know them. You already have a relationship. So you have 10x the leverage when you work with warm leads versus cold leads. Now, the ultimate superpower to that, which is what this is right here, is free content, right? Because you could record a video of yourself talking for 5, 10, 15 minutes about whatever the heck you want it to be. And if you do it well, and it's actually helpful to people, and you get it in the right channels, then potentially, instead of reaching out to 100 cold leads with DMs, you know, sitting there, you know, late at night sending out messages, you could reach thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people with the same amount of effort. So those are the 3 lead generation tactics. And if you're somebody that up until now has convinced themselves they need money, and we are now throwing that out the window, and you're trying to figure out what the heck do I do, that is what you do. You go start generating leads. That is absolutely the first step you do. And I dare you to put yourself in a situation where you have deals coming in that you don't know what to do with. Put yourself there first, right? Don't talk theoreticals. Don't talk about any theory. What if this? What if that? What if they ask me questions? Step 1, go generate leads. Put yourself in a tough position that you don't know how to handle it. Step 2, get yourself involved with a community of people that can pick you up when you get in that situation, right? Put yourself in the situation and then bring other people in to help you with said situation. We have a free community where you can do exactly that on School. It's the first link in the description. Jump in there. It's all there for you. But whether it's mine or somebody else's, get involved with people that can answer those questions for you along the way. Because I'll tell you what, if you know me, you know I hate hypotheticals. Don't come ask me what if they say this. Go get them to ask you that question and then come back to me and say, hey Ryan, I've got a deal. This is where I'm stuck. This is the question they have. Then you're actually learning something because it's happening in real time. And in your head, you're like, oh my gosh, I have the potential to make $5,000. I just got to answer this question right. And now you're way more motivated to actually figure out what the heck is going on and get the help that you need. So step 1, go generate leads. If you're not generating leads, then you are not going to make money. Fact. It doesn't matter if you have money or not. You are not going to make money if you're not generating leads. Generating leads is the stuff I talked about. It's also going to networking events, making more warm leads, right? Converting cold to warm, which means meeting more people and becoming friends with them, getting their phone number, having conversations on the phone with them, like cold to warm leads. Warm leads are higher leverage. Do more of that. Go generate your leads. Get in a position where you don't know what the heck to do next. Then find somebody that can help you in that exact position, that can give you one-on-one help to help you out. And then third of all, you just start making money. That's all it looks like. Because once you get to that point where you have deals coming in and then you get the help to figure out, is this actually a deal? How do we do this deal? How do I have the confidence to go through with it? That's where I can help you out. So you do not have to work with me. Everybody hears me say this all the time. But if you get a deal and then you need help getting that deal to the finish line and you're like, Ryan said I don't need any money. This is the part where you go get the money and you get the help from somebody who has the confidence, who has the credibility, who has the systems in place to go do that deal. So for me, literally anybody can go to my website. It's right here. I'll put it here. It's probably going to be the second link, I guess, swiftdmd.com. You can go to the website. You can sign up to do referrals on the top so that all of your deals can go through me, and then you can get my credibility, my confidence, my funds so that you don't have to use them. Everybody is able to do that, right? That's step 3, is go on swiftdmd.com, or Go find somebody else who can do that same thing for you and work with them. I'm just as happy either way. But the point is, those are the 3 steps you need to take. Throw out the money and everything else. You will get there. We will get you there. But if you don't have a proof of concept for yourself, you are going to get freaking bogged down by this stuff because it's not easy. You're going to get tired. You're going to get beat up. You're going to be like, is this for me? Is it working? Right? So save yourself some of that stress and don't go spend a bunch of money on fancy systems and LLCs and all this stuff and you know, get all giddy and prepare yourself. Just go do the work first, right? Shocker, work is the answer. Go do the work first, generate the leads, create problems, come back, learn from them, repeat that cycle. And all the while, you do not need any money. In that process, you will start making money and you can build up your own reserves. But even when you have money, here's the scary thing. People come to me and say, hey Ryan, I've been working for the last year and I saved up $5,000 and I'm ready to lend it on a deal. No, you are not. You might be saying that, but there's no chance you're ready to lend that money on a deal. Because when you lend money on a deal, you have to be willing to lose every single dollar of that money. And I say this on a bunch of videos. I say it to people all the time. Nobody hears me, but I'm going to continue saying it because I am an example. I have lost a bunch of money lending. And if you are not willing to lend money that you can lose, then do not do it. Don't do it. So if you spent the last year saving up $5,000 and you're like, instead of working with somebody like Ryan or somebody who knows what they're doing, I'm going to go out on a whim, take my hard-earned money and freaking throw it into this deal. And you know, if I lose it, I'm going to be crushed and my life's going to end. Do not do that. Why? Why would you do that instead of working with somebody that can bring their funds and, more importantly, with all of that, their confidence, right? The ability to know when it's a good idea to lend and when to back away, right? The ability to not look at returns on deals, which a lot of you guys that are new, all you look at is how much potential money you can make. Don't do that. It's a horrible idea. You have to look at the downsides first and understand what is the actual downsides here that can happen. And the downside with lending money is losing that money. So even when you save up that first $5,000, $10,000, and I've had some people say, you know, this is demoralizing to hear. I'm sorry, but like, you should not be lending your own money when you have just a little bit of money saved up and you've worked hard for that money. That money can be better used in pretty much any other way other than lending, because lending is risky. You can go do, you know, you can put it in the stock market or put it in a savings account where you just make a little bit of money. But when you're trying to make high returns, risk is higher. And the only way to mitigate risk is by having the confidence and the systems and the understanding and the experience to go into those things with the best chance of not losing money, with the best chance of not messing it up. And you have to focus on those things first. So throw out everything you know about lending. This is a fun one. Get rid of all that stuff. Focus on leads. Go get your deals. Bring them to people that know what they're doing. Make some money. Give yourself proof of concept in your own mind, in your wife or husband's mind, in your family's mind, that you can actually do this. And then take that money and start bootstrapping, right? Build from the ground up. Build those systems. You know, buy a nicer camera for your content. You know, allocate more time to this stuff. Whatever it is for you. But don't start there. You know, unless you just want to be, you know, like super ballsy and just send it, you know, more power to you. But the point of this video is you don't need your own money. And, you know, I could give so many examples. This week, I've had 4 people in my community get their first ever deal. Their first ever deal in 1 week. That's basically a new person every single day of this week. Not a single one of those people used their own money, right? So I'm not making this stuff up. Like, it's happening. Whether you're there or not, this is happening. People are using other people's money for this stuff. And, you know, you may have missed the bus, but don't let that affect the future. Like, just make that transition. And right now, as I'm sitting here, like, think about what I'm saying. Have you been telling yourself that you needed money all this time, and now you're realizing, oh wait, that just wasn't true, right? I was either telling myself lies or I was listening to somebody else that was lying to me for whatever reason. But it's not true. You don't need your own money. So throw that out the window. Go start taking some action. Make some mistakes, but make mistakes without your own money so that it's not detrimental to your future, right? We want to try and build these blocks up step by step. We don't want to set ourselves back, especially at the beginning. I don't want that for you. That's why I try and help as many people as I can. So if you need the community, jump inside of Financial Foundations. It's completely free. We've got a masterclass on everything we do on lending so that you can get started and build this business from the ground up with $0. I'll see you guys next time.